name is Toby. I'm currently a master's student at York University. I'm in my last year of master's in biology, cellular and molecular bio. I completed an undergrad in biomedical science and been tutoring right since my undergrad. So I pretty much love to do, a lot of science as well as education. That's been something I've been passionate about, as well as giving back to the community as a Black person and a first generation immigrant. I'm very intentional about giving back to other Black people, especially trying to get them into the education system. When I first got here, and it was a little bit of a transition, and knowing the right tools, knowing what to do and right stuff, I think was very helpful for me, and I made it a personal goal to give that back to other people. So that's sort of like my mantra for most things that I do right now. My project is basically an educational science outreach program, especially for Black people. A lot of people think if you do science, you have to be a doctor, you have to be an engineer or something, but you don't necessarily have to be. You could be a researcher, you could be other things, and those are some things that I do and I find interesting. And when I talk to a lot of Black kids, I notice that they don't even know it's possible to be a scientist. It's just more like something you see in a movie and it's cool. And then so I just this is an opportunity to reach out to those kids, let them know this is something you could do in science, this is something you could do in bio, physics, chemistry. So it worked in a pattern where the first week was basically tutoring sessions, and myself and other tutors basically came in to give a very interesting topic in bio. Like I talked about, I think it was the concept of DNA mutations, and a lot of the kids were really excited about being bio, like doing a couple of genetics and whatnot. And some other people talked about physics, chemistry, and some interesting concept. And we just try to introduce them to the topics. It was mostly for grade 9 to grade 12, and they basically got to learn a little bit more about those topics that I guess would make them like the subject more. And then afterwards, we had a little bit of career sessions where people were also doing research in different fields like aerospace engineering, also some nursing students, and just came to talk to them about possible career options. And this is how you want to explore this in Canada, especially if you're a new immigrant, or also with some people who had same experience, and they gave them some idea. I was really passionate about getting them to see science. The original goal was to take them to the entire science center. I wanted them to see some of the experiment, but I tried to reach out to them, and unfortunately there was a time where you could actually come in and do some hands-on experiment like DNA fingerprinting, but we're a little bit past that session, and there's no labs in like Toronto where you could actually take people. I work in a lab myself, but I also cannot take for safety reasons. We had like an online sort of like demo and lab tutorial, and then some of them got some lab kits as well as some gift cards to like help them get some science stuff or books from Indigo, alternative to visit in the science center. So that was primarily what we did in the project, and we're hoping to continue this. So some of the students have reached out to me, and I've been offering them tutoring like weekly just to help them with school, and sometimes some of them still reach out for like academic advice and whatnot, and I've just been doing that on an ongoing basis. I just came to Canada in grade 12, and I needed to complete the high school volunteer requirement. It was like 40 credits. I just reached out to this counselor, and it's like, is there anything you want to do? I think I used to volunteer at one of the food banks, but I didn't have a lot of hours, and I really needed the hours. And it's like, well, I heard you're really good in math. If you can tutor this person, I can sign your hours. And I just tutored them, and like I was really glad to see them like do good, and they'll send me messages and gift. And I'm like, you know what, this is really cool. Like I didn't even think of it as something you could do, to get paid. It was more like I was doing it to give back, because when I was younger, I remember I used to have a lot of tutoring. I was really struggling when I was way younger. So when I got to uni, then I started doing this again. I was still volunteering, and then I got a job as a tutor, and then I used to tutor my classmate and whatnot. And then now as a master's student, I also tutor undergrads and whatnot. So it's just something that has sort of come in there, like on the side. It's not like the major thing I do. Like I'm more of a scientist and trying to get to med school and whatnot, but I still do that. And it's just been something that I love to do. So we had a couple of enrollments, quite a number of people, but not all of them would show up for the sessions, right? In the future, I would probably spend a lot more time on marketing. I'll probably get somebody to assist with that. I did hire some people, a couple of people to help with tutoring, because I felt like seeing a different face and see somebody that looks like you. So I feel like, today if it's a guy, tomorrow it could be a girl. I had to make sure that people could relate with you better. So, and we just compensated them for their time. I started saying that, it's always been my mantra to give back to Black people. So this project sort of covers two major things for me. The first being that I love science. And so, this program was a chance for me to let other people know about science, let them know about how cool science is. I never really started liking science until grade 12. And I figured like, if I had known this way earlier, I think I'll be way better. I'd have a lot more experience. I've been doing this even before to like my own family and friends. This is an opportunity to do it on a larger scale. So that sort of reflected my values. Secondly was this underrepresented people can go into a field that's probably, more white predominated and whatnot. Not things you would typically expect people of colors to be in. So I think it was a great opportunity for that. Currently, actually in talks with like some other people who are willing to like volunteer with me as well, and like maybe do this more like a weekly session. Because I also do like a lot of genetics, so I had like some mutations I'd done and I showed to them, and you get a lot of messages like, oh, it's really cool, like, you know, it's something I could consider as a feud. Even up to date, I still have some of them reach out to me for like advice about what program should I take and you need to go to med school, and those are things I've been helping them to continuously doing up until now, as well as I still provide tutoring to some of them, the ones that reach out. So it's been like a continuous process for me. I like the fulfillment that, you know, I can talk about science, and then a lot of them, like I could really tell that some of them, they genuinely love science, and I just wish that even if I'm not able to, someone else is able to, you know, keep them in that path, because it's easy to get discouraged if you don't know it's actually career. So yeah, it's just been really revolutionary.